Price drops galore, everybody. That's what I'm going to talk to you about in Las Vegas, Nevada. That and my update for what's happening in real estate here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I've got all that for you. So let's jump right into it, folks. First, I want to say that we are at the high end of interest rates right now. That meaning that we are at the high end for the year of where interest rates will be. And the weird thing about that is that they've already gone down quite a bit. They are at a 1.5-year low right now for interest rates. But why is this not creating a rush to the market? If you're seeing a 1.5 year low for interest rates, in the past, we've been seeing, especially towards the beginning of this year and end of last year, we saw people rushing to the market because rates dropped, and they aren't even as low as they are now. So why is it that not a lot of people are buying into the idea of buying right now with these rates? That's because of the clear fact that it looks like we're going to have more rate cuts coming from the Fed, and that is going to be this month. That's happening. So it's just a matter of what that rate cut is. So I think a lot of people are held up with that idea. But also, some buyers are a little concerned about where prices are. There are woes in the marketplace. There are concerns about where prices are. There are concerns about what I have to deal with when I'm hiring an agent nowadays. That's the buyer's brokerage agreement. If you want to know a little bit more about that, I did a little video where I explain a little bit of that. I'm not going to get too much into it. I don't think it's something to fear, but I think people have the impression that it is. I will get into what sellers are thinking right now about that. That is something I definitely want to talk about. They're playing chicken. Sellers are playing chicken. They're going to feel this out. But before I tell you that, I want to tell you that I'm Rob Howe with Elite Realty. I'm here in Las Vegas, and I'm all about houses and you. I've been a realtor for 15 years now here in Las Vegas, Nevada. So if you're looking for somebody to help you buy or sell a property, now you know how. And let me jump into what I was just talking about, which are sellers are playing chicken right now. They are playing chicken with the commissions. And that means that they're right now, when you go to, as an agent, when I go to sign up a listing with a seller, they are not committing on that listing agreement anymore to a commission that they're going to pay the buyer's agent. They're no longer saying, hey, I'm going to pay you as my listing agent, and I agree to pay this much to the buyer's agent. That can't be on the multiple listing service anymore. So now what's happened is that buyers, agents, and buyers are submitting offers with not only their terms for what they're trying to buy the house for, but what their agent is going to get paid. And so sellers are saying, you know what? As my listing agent, I'm not even going to tell you what I want to offer for a commission. Why don't we just see what the offers come in as? And so they'll deal with it as they get an offer. Now, if they get a great offer, maybe list price or over a list price, and it's got a higher commission on it, maybe they'll be happy to pay that. They feel like that buyer's agent has looked out for me as a seller here and given me what I'm looking for. But they are playing chicken and feeling that out a little bit by saying, I think it's playing chicken because if you're not advertising, if you're not allowing your listing agent to advertise that you're, gloriously paying a 3% commission, then I think you're missing out on opportunity right now, because there are not, it's just less and less buyers right now. As I've been saying, even with these rates lowering, we are not seeing a turnout in the buyer activity. I think a lot of people are waiting for even lower rates to happen, and then, still going to take a wait and see attitude. And also we're talking about a traditionally lower time for buyers to be active anyway, which is towards the end of the year. So, will we see a bit of a spike as we go into the fall? Maybe. But right now, I got to tell you, one of the things that would, if I'm a seller, that would concern me is that the total amount of listings on market is nearly 8,000 now. I've said it was going to get up above 7,000 in my last video. It's done that completely. Actually, maybe it was at 7,400, and I said it would just, be up to the next 100 in no time. Even by the time that video went out, I think it went up to 7,500 like that. Now we are at almost 7,800. Okay. almost 7,800, 7,733. I'll put that right here. That's what I'm seeing on the multiple listing service. Now, 923 of those are 1 million plus properties. Back when we had a low, you saw the 1 million plus properties almost down to 500. So we're almost double the 1 million plus properties, and we're almost double overall what we saw in the spring, which was around 4,000. So we're getting to these almost double numbers. That is concerning to me because that means that we are getting back to having more availability on the market, more choice for buyers. If I'm a seller, I don't like that market that I'm playing in. Now, it's kind of two different worlds right now, because if you got a popular property in a popular area, let's say that single story, 4-bedroom with a pool, 3-car garage, if it has all the fixings and it's in Summerlin or something, you're going to get a lot of attention, no doubt about it. It's still a market where the people that are looking for the cream of the crop type properties. They want to buy what they need, what they really, really need. And a lot of people need those specifications that I spoke about. So when you have a property that's in need, it's going to get still a lot of attraction right now. And I'm not seeing, like in certain areas, I'm not seeing like suddenly you have a ton of competition, but in certain areas you do. You're starting to see that. So it's really area specific a little bit, and it's also property specific. So a little bit of, still a strong market for certain people who might want to price their property well, or that have those specific properties that everybody's looking for. Now let me get to something that I didn't get to, which is the very beginning of the video where I said price drops galore, okay? What do I mean by that? As you can see here, I have these numbers that show that nearly 1,000 price drops were done in this week. All right, that's been happening. I've been seeing days where there's been 1,000 price drops every week for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Okay, that is a significant change. That leads me to telling you this about where the market is going for you. Buyer's agents, what that tells me is that buyer's agents, you have the gold right now. If you have a buyer that is a legitimate active buyer, they are golden. They will and should get you paid the full commission that you want to offer in there, and that you've made the agreement with your buyer on these buyer brokerage agreements. You should be getting that without question, because there are not going to be a line of buyers at most properties right now. Okay? Buyer's agents, you have the gold if you have a buyer. Okay? When I'm working with a buyer right now, I know that. And I'm not going to be shy about putting in what I know I've agreed with my buyer. I'm going to let my buyer know as well. Buyers, if you're a buyer right now, you have power. Okay? Now, how long that power will last is the question, because if there is a rush to market when rates go lower, we might start seeing the inventory back up and go down. I actually don't think that's going to happen for a little while. I think that there's right now, when you have these woes in the market, if you will, when you have a number of pressures that are finally coming home to roost, so to speak, I think that it takes a little while for the word to get out. But if you're watching this, you're getting the word that you as a buyer right now have a lot of power. And I think that's going forward through this year and maybe even to the beginning of next year. It's springtime, where we usually spring up, that I would say, if I'm a buyer, I don't really want to buy at that time, unless I have to. It might be fine. You might be okay. It's not going to be terrible. But if you really want your best opportunity to really, get a deal. And I love a deal, folks. I'm a deal lover. All right. My girlfriend knows that. So sellers will not be able to hold out if you're a buyer's agent. They will not be able to hold out not paying a buyer's agent in this time right now. I think that's going to be pretty clear. There may be some exceptions to that, but for the most part, sellers expect to pay a commission to those people bringing you good offers for your property. So again, it's leaning towards a buyer's market, but we have woes. I've been saying woes a whole bunch. That word woe a whole bunch. What am I talking about? Well, one of those things is election woes. I think that people are not exactly on firm ground when they're thinking about who might get elected. And with the vitriol, with all that's out there about, how the president may affect your life and how important that is, and, basically the world ending, people kind of get nervous about who's going to be next, and they want to see how that lands. And virtually we're dealing with, this is a strange time right now, because we're dealing with basically it's as if we had a two-term president that's on the way out, and now you've got two new candidates, even though we had obviously a one-term president that is now backed out of the race. And but we do have two new candidates, if you will, and one of those candidates has a toxicity level that for people is just it just scares the crap out of them, and I think that's a factor. It's always a factor, but also the other side is scared about the other side too. So until those things get sorted, I do believe that has a pressure, a factor on the marketplace. So many of you are taking a wait and see approach, whether it's, rates coming up, whether it's the election, whether it's, hey, I think the whole market's going to crash and go down. I do not see that happening, folks. I think if anything, we could see a correction in the marketplace where we've reached some big highs and we kind of slide back off of those. And that would be because of some of the pressures that we're seeing. But this is why I say, if that was going to happen, you're in that zone as a buyer. If, in my opinion, I think that zone is for the next several months. And looking out further, I don't, that's harder to project what's going to happen, but I don't see a big, fallback, or certainly not a crash happening. So anyway, folks, that's my update here in Las Vegas. I am Rob Howe. I am the Rockstar Realtor, as you know, on this channel. Please subscribe to this channel if you want more of this, or if you want to see more of the tours that I have for model homes or homes coming on the market. I am clearly all about houses and you, and now you know how to sell or buy a home in Las Vegas, Nevada. Have a wonderful week, everybody. I will see you on the next video.